Good afternoon, it's Simon and it is a Friday afternoon here in the UK in Kent. I'm in the park and it's quite interesting for me because in the last few days, last few weeks, something different's happened. They've done a bit of a culling and a cutting, not really a culling. They've taken all the grass down and as you can see it had like a haircut. And it's back how it was when I first came around this area. Over the summer, the meadow was allowed to develop from bluebells to 100 different species growing, navigating. So we'd see the animals from squirrels and badgers and foxes, but not so much. And yet now suddenly it's back done again. Now what's interesting for me is this sort of looks normal. This looks sort of how it's supposed to be. Well, the truth of it is that this is a man-made construction. This little glade, these parks and woodlands were devised and designed over 100 years ago by Decimus Burton. And now we get to enjoy them. This aspect of planting and thinking through, and also considering how to maintain these systems, was such a part of the thinking. And it's so rare today. When did you last plan something for 100 years ahead? Maybe you thought about your great-great-grandkids or something like that, but it's very rare to think 100 years out and then take the time to put that work in for not so few hours and days, but weeks and decades and years. Yes, I know decades come after years, but to do that work, to sort of go from these small little seeds, these little beautiful things here in the Scotch pine, and seeing how they're going to develop over time. So it's quite interesting how, in a strange way, thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, people were more willing to do that work, to have this cathedral thinking. And nowadays we tend to be quite short-termist. We've had a lockdown for a year or two, and there are people that went through periods in time of decades of lockdown in essence. And so I find myself thinking about that today and also grateful for the work that was done. And the fact that I get to enjoy this on a sunny September's afternoon, to me is quite extraordinary. Later today, I'm recording one of our podcast episodes with Dr. Mort Orman, who's introduced me by Callan, who's done an amazing concert. And Pause Stop Reset is moving forward in interesting ways. I love that now I can walk under the trees again and nature takes its action. But for most of the summer, we couldn't do that. This was literally, a metre or plus of high grasses. So what's there to think about? What can we learn from that? How can we apply that? Well, for me, I'm just enjoying the fact I can come out, I can walk. I'm not going to bore with my health challenges, but I found it hard to walk, hard to move the last few months. So be able to come outside, actually enjoy some sun on my face. Remember a time sitting here with a picnic and maybe having a picnic here again. We've got the Foxy Box Club picnic coming up in about a week's time, and Fresh Flow and things like that. But more than that, I'm just present to this aspect of time and focus, this aspect of taking it one day at a time, one moment at a time, keeping in mind this bright North Star vision for the future. And in fact, I can do that today. Very grateful for that. And those people around me, the challenging ones, the fun ones, the teaching ones, the ones that bring a smile, the ones that bring a laugh, and the people that often you don't even know are doing what they're doing in the background to make everything happen. You wouldn't have seen the armies of people who've been preparing these grounds, and yet their ripples and work is definitely here today. So with that said, I'm going to leave you with the sound of the trees, and I'll see you next time.